Happy 25th anniversary, Unity Church of the Hills. Welcome to our anniversary Sunday service. We are so grateful to have all of you with us this morning. If you're joining us on Facebook or YouTube, please take a moment and say hello. Let us know where you're watching from. Connect with your fellow love streamers. And while you're at it, our Sharing is Caring campaign continues, and this Sunday it benefits Hill Country Community Ministries. Hill Country Community Ministries is a coalition of churches assisted by area businesses, and it provides food, clothing, and other assistance for people in crisis or living in poverty in Southwest Williamson and Northwest Travis counties. Their goal is to serve their clients with dignity and compassion in an atmosphere of neighbor helping neighbor. And if that speaks to your heart, all you have to do is share this morning's service, and we'll give $5 to this amazing organization for every share. Now let's go ahead and get started with our Sunday service.
I'm Dr. Roger Teal from Denver, Colorado, formerly senior minister of Mile High Church, now minister emeritus there. I want to extend my heartfelt congratulations to the leadership and the community of Unity Church of the Hills. As you know, I greatly respect your ministry and what a wonderful heritage you have, and you have a tremendous future in spiritual leadership with your dynamic community. So celebrate this wonderful time, keep this great church strong, and the best is yet to be. All my love and blessings.
Hi, everyone. Howard Caesar here, and it's my privilege to extend heartfelt congratulations to each and every one of you who've ever had a part or been associated with Unity of the Hills. 25 years is no small thing. You have given of your time, talents, energy, donations to create a safe and powerful place where people could come, have their lives be changed, feel the presence, have love and inspiration flow. That is amazing, and I'm here to wish you another 25 years and well beyond of great life-changing work being done at that fine ministry. It is truly a gem, and you can be proud. Blessings to you all.
Good morning. Welcome to Unity Church of the Hills in Austin, Texas. I feel like every time I say that, because I've been in Austin for about 30 hours now this time, I feel like every time I say welcome, they say welcome back. So I am so happy to be here. My name is Reverend Eliza Bloom Robinson, and I am serving as your interim for the next 3, 4, 5 months while you are in the final search, the final process of your search for your next permanent minister. I have so many stories to tell. Many of you know I was in Austin. I left Austin about 10 years ago, but I was here for a number of years. So I've got all these heartstrings and all these memories and all these people I want to see, and we're in COVID, so I don't know how that's going to work. But anyway, I am so happy to be here. Next week, I'll be delivering the message. Today, we have Reverend Ron Scott, the founding minister, as our special guest speaker live via videotape, as we've been doing. If you are here for the very first time, if you are catching us live on Facebook for the very first time, welcome, 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 welcome. Unity is a positive path for spiritual living that honors all paths to God. Wherever you are in your spiritual journey, we'll meet you there, and we'll invite you along on ours. If you want to know more about us, just type connect into the comments, and an ambassador will reach out to you. There are several prayer chaplains holding space today, and we are so grateful for their service. If you'd like to receive one-on-one prayer from a prayer chaplain following today's service, the phone number is up on the screen, 512-814-5365. Just shoot a call in there and they will call you back. If you've not had prayer with a prayer chaplain or from Silent Unity or something like that, it's a wonderful experience. So even if you don't have a pressing, huge need, reach out and request a prayer. Our kids, I love saying our kids. I just have to say this, I love saying that Ron Scott is my guest speaker today at Unity Church of the Hills. I've been cracking myself up with that statement, practicing it all week, so hopefully Ron Scott is also watching and appreciates that human. I also love having Roger Teal and Howard Caesar. Howard's one of my dearest friends from many, many years ago, sort of set the stage, so how fun is that? Anyway, our kids, our youth, angels and teachers continue to meet in virtual formats like Facebook Live and Zoom. So we take a moment to focus our hearts on all of them and behold the Christ in them. Think about those smiling faces. Think about the day when once again we'll have, 50 or 100 kids up here on stage celebrating the work that we do with our kids. You can learn more about our youth ministry at unityhills.org. And our teens have been doing a fundraiser, the Quilt drawing, Uniteens quilt drawing. And the winner, thank you for the drum roll. I forgot to set that up. Paula Hole, and I believe Paula may even be in the building today. Woo-hoo! Thank you, everyone who participated in this fundraiser. You still have the opportunity to buy a quilt for 25% off. In honor of our 25th anniversary, our Youth of Unity will be selling quilts in the pavilion today. You can also purchase quilts online or through the bookstore through all the way up until December 24th. So let's join together in our vision statement. I want you to not only say the words to yourself, but I want you to really feel them. We are an ever-expanding community of love and acceptance where lives are transformed. And let's take that statement into an opening prayer. We gently close our outer eyes. We open to the awareness of spirit right now in this moment, right now in the depths of your very own being, active in you, in your life, and in the world. As we open ourselves to the greater awareness, to a palpable awareness of that presence that we call God. We feel it moving in and through our being, in and through our lives, in and through our world, knowing that God is good all the time and that all things work together for a greater good for those who put spirit first and for the world. So we bless our service, we bless each and every one of you who are watching, and we bless the world with love, with kindness, compassion. And so it is, and so we let it be. Amen.
This week's Sharing is Caring benefits Hill Country Community Ministries. For every share of the service while we are live, we will donate $5 to this amazing organization. Happy anniversary, y'all! Please take a moment to add your congratulations to our greeting card virtually, which is AKA our kudo board. Okay, so now buckle your walking shoes because we are about to go on a 90-minute walking tour in under 2.5 minutes.
Hi, my name is Ellen Fannin, and I want to welcome you to the 25th anniversary walking tour. It's really been a labor of love for a group of us to put this together. And whether you've been at Unity Church of the Hills since the beginning or you have just become part of this wonderful community, this walking tour will be wonderful for you and have great insights for you. There's some beautiful stories, and it just really makes you feel so much a part of what this community is. Be sure to bring your earbuds with you and your phone because you can either go on the app or you can go to our website to listen, or you can pick up one of these books that has the scripts in them and you can read. It's got the map in it. There's another big map. We've tried to make it so that everyone has a way to listen and enjoy this walking tour. So come visit.
And I remember the feeling that I had, and I think each of us had, that the question wasn't, can we build a labyrinth? It was, we are building a labyrinth. It is going to happen. And so we never went through a questioning as to, should we or should we, how will we? It was, we will.
As the church was built, a wrinkle with the land drainage became apparent. And so, even though it was not part of the original plan, the bridge you see here became a beautiful addition to our church.
The final day of the walking tour, Saturday, November 21st, prayer chaplains will be available from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m., which coincides with the market day hours. You are invited to come and pray with them at any time. Thank you again for participating in the walking tour, and may God bless you throughout the coming days.
I don't know about you guys, but I think I lost a few pounds. So we would like to invite you to come back and join us tonight at 5:30 as we continue our anniversary celebrations with Celebration. Our music ministry concert will be live streamed to Facebook, YouTube, and our website, and the pavilion. Then our outdoor market day is on Saturday, November 21st from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. There will be artisan crafts, body care products, jewelry, and baked goods to stock up on for the holidays. Our coat drive benefiting Hope Alliance continues through November 22nd. We are collecting gently used or new coats for women and toddlers. And our turkey drive benefiting Hill Country Community Ministries also continues through November 22nd. A donation of $25 will feed a family for Thanksgiving. This year's Thanksgiving ecumenical service is being hosted by Unity Church of the Hills. In coordination with several other local churches, we put together a beautiful service full of choral music, hymns, and an inspiring message by Reverend Mary Grace Sorensen. The service will be live streamed to Facebook, YouTube, and our website on Tuesday, November 24th at 7:30 p.m. Then on Thanksgiving Eve, you are invited to join LUTs and praying chaplains for a drive-through communion and blessing from 4 to 5 p.m. Come to our Circle Drive where you will be served communion through your car window. Then your car will be surrounded and blessed by LUTs and chaplains. At 7 p.m. Thanksgiving Eve, Reverend Eliza Bloom Robinson will lead a gratitude service via Zoom. In addition to her meditation and message, we'll have an opportunity to come together and share our gratitudes with one another. The Zoom link can be found on our unityhills.org calendar. If you are present after the Going Deeper session today and you are available, we could use your help bringing the Christmas decorations down from the storage area behind me. We'll begin sorting and decorating the sanctuary and pavilion in the coming weeks, and this is the very first necessary step. So thank you in advance for your participation. We'll begin around 1 o'clock today. And finally, our new podcast, the One Power podcast, co-hosted by Rick Busby and myself, did launch on Friday, November 13th. We were a day late. In addition to being a resource for our own community, we see this podcast reaching out far and wide to draw in those who are seeking the positive message that Unity has to offer. And we're still finishing the website, and it will also be featured on unityhills.org, so it should be available to listen to this week. Now, before we move into our meditation, here's a few more congratulations to our spiritual community.
I'm Reverend Linda Martella Whitsett. I'm Reverend Linda Martella Whitsett. Unity of the Hills has my heart, as I was your neighbor when I served as senior minister at Unity of San Antonio for 14 years, until just 4 years ago when I joined the executive team at Unity World Headquarters. I'm in charge of Unity's 24/7 worldwide prayer ministry. On behalf of our great team of Silent Unity prayer associates, I bless you and Unity Church of the Hills as you mark 25 years of inspiring and spiritually supporting Austin, Texas, and the whole world. We remind you that now and always you are divine.
Hello, friends. I'm Jim Blake, the CEO at Unity Village. It is truly an honor and a privilege to wish you and your ministry at Unity Church of the Hills a happy and joyous anniversary. From all of us here at Unity Village, congratulations. We honor and celebrate you and your great works in the world. Namaste.
Will you join me in a time of meditation? Close your outer eyes and take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, simply let go. As you exhale, feel your body beginning to relax. As you exhale again, feel your awareness dropping deeper into this now moment. Become aware of your body and just notice what you notice. If there's any place that might be tight or in pain or discomfort, just breathe into that spot. And then let it go. And take another breath deeper. And then let go. And another breath deeper. This time allowing your awareness to drop all the way down into your belly. And just breathe with your belly for a few moments. Once you've landed deeply in your belly, allow your awareness to rise up just a bit and land in your heart. And when it lands there, feel your heart burst open. Feel it expanding with love, with awareness, with presence that only comes from this now moment. And as we focus on the love that is in our heart, that is overflowing our heart, let it expand your heart, overflowing into your torso, your limbs, rising up to your face, putting a smile on your face, a twinkle in your eyes, and a song in your heart. Open and aware of that presence that is God, that is source, that is creation. Take a deep breath in, and so it is, and so we let it be. Amen.
us this day our daily bread, and forgive our debts as we forgive our debtors. And leave us not in temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever and ever. Amen. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever and ever. Amen. Father in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, and thy will be done. On earth as it is in heaven. Give us this very day our daily bread, and forgive our debts as we forgive our debtors. And leave us not in temptation, but deliver us from evil. Oh, for thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever and ever. Amen. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever and ever. Amen. Honored and praised, lifted and raised. Honored and praised be thy name. Honored and praised, lifted and raised. Honored and praised be thy For thine is the kingdom, Lord, and the power and the glory forever and ever. Forever. For thine is the kingdom, Lord, and the power and the glory forever and ever and ever. Amen. Thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever and ever. Amen. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever and ever.
Half a lifetime ago, my life changed dramatically from frequent struggle and distress to virtually ongoing delight and gratitude. And this transformation happened when I came to see that my relationship with God is not about an intellectual understanding of what God is or is not even about my belief in God, but rather my relationship with God is my trusting God, no matter what, and of my willingness to have God guide my life. This transformation came about after I, at the lowest point in my life, living with financial challenges, a breakup of a marriage, and a serious addiction, took a class in meditation where someone gave me a business card and said, here, if you like this class, you'll probably like Reverend Jack Boland and the Unity Church. Now, I don't know to this day who that person was who gave me that card. And it took me 2 years to get to that church. That's how stubborn I was. But it was life-changing for a number of reasons. Jack Boland became my mentor and my dearest friend. I learned spiritual principles that have guided my life ever since. I met Lenore, the love of my life, and was led to my life's purpose in ministry. God has continued to guide our path, and the evidence has been obvious countless times since. A vivid example was a dozen years after entering that Unity Church. Lenore and I were midway through the second year of ministerial school at Unity Village when we received a letter from our friends Fred and Joan House. And the letter asked how they could start a Unity Church in their part of Austin. Well, we took the letter over to the Unity Village authorities and forgot about it. They followed up on it, and a few weeks later came back and said, Mr. and Mrs. House would like you two to be the ministers of that church. Well, we knew that God would direct us to where we were supposed to be, so we continued to explore various possibilities. There were half a dozen places we checked out: Dallas, Lincoln, Nebraska, Columbus, Ohio, and more. But everywhere we went, the doors closed for one reason or another. And every time we came to Austin, the doors were obviously open. The first time we were there, a young man approached us and said his name was Jeff Sarich. And if we wanted, he would be happy to handle the sound booth, that he was experienced in this. And then Audrey Fulmer came to us and said she had an architectural firm and they had space upstairs where we could hold an office. Tatha Underwood said she was good at finding places and she would find a place for us to hold services. And that's how we wound up at Grisham Middle School. God has a way of letting you know when something is right. The first day we arrived in Austin in July 1995, we held a meeting with the planning committee at the home of Jim and Betty Skaggs. And at that time, we told Betty about our son, Larry, who had come down to help us out in getting organized on the move. And we told her how Larry is a wildlife artist. Well, it was some days later that Betty contacted Larry and said they had a couple of special pets who had passed on, but they'd love to have a painting of those pets, and they had pictures of them. would he be able to come over? Well, it turned out that Larry had planned to be there for a week, but we were keeping him busy with so many things that he decided to stretch it on a couple of more days. And it was during this time that he made his way over to Betty and Jim's home and showed them his work. And Betty liked it and commissioned him to do a painting of their pets, but also said to him, oh, our daughter, Kathy, who's in school in California, in college, just came in last night and she's at the hairdresser's right now, but I'm going to meet her for lunch. Would you like to join us? And Larry said, of course, sure, that'd be great. Betty said that at that lunch, there was a special energy. The sparks flew. And she said the connection between Kathy and Larry was such that she felt like she almost wasn't there. Well, some years later, now we are family, sharing 2 amazing grandchildren. God really does impact our experience in dramatic ways. A few months later, when we were about to get started in that November service of 1995, maybe a few weeks prior to that time, Fred and Joan said they had the opportunity for us to meet with the music director at the University of Texas. They had in prior years done volunteer printing for that person, and they had asked, would he be willing to meet with us and help us look into the musicians in the Austin area? And he said, sure, I'd be happy to. So they arranged a lunch for a certain day, and we were planning to meet them at noon at this particular restaurant. Well, unbeknownst to us, this fellow, the music director, had been doing work for Disney World, and he had a certain job that he had to get out. So he called Fred and Joan and said, I'm sorry, I have to cancel this out and do it at another time because I'm just too busy. He later said that 10 minutes after he made that decision, his computer shut down for no reason. And he said, well, I think I'm supposed to be at that luncheon. So he called them back, and we met at the lunch. And that's how it came that Beth Bowman became our first music director. Another example that if our spiritual path is in alignment, the universe will find ways to move it forward. Jesus, of course, is our way shower. And he didn't philosophize about God. He didn't theorize about the spiritual path. Rather, he spoke of his experience. He said, it is God's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. He said, you are the light of the world. The kingdom of God is within you. These things that I do, you too shall do, and greater things than these shall you do. A few perceptions. The experience of God is not automatic. You can't sit back and expect God to take over. It is a partnership. It requires your effort and time and investment, your spiritual commitment. The people of Unity Church of the Hills provided this and became a magnet for spiritual blessings. God loves to open doors of opportunity. After we had moved to the shopping center, after almost a year at the Christian Middle School, it became obvious that we were going to have to move to a larger facility once the 5-year lease was up. So the congregation developed a search team, a team to search for land. And this went on for over a year. We were looking all over for it. And at one point, two members of that team, Bob Heinrichs and Susan Heinrichs, came, and Bob said, I have a background in land development, property development. And would you like us to take over and find that land for you? We said, wonderful, that would be great. Well, it was only a few weeks later that Bob called me one morning and said, are you available to look at some property? I said, of course. He said, I'll pick you up at 10 o'clock. Would that work? I said, great. Now, the search team started out with the idea of having 5 miles as a circumference within the church where we would look for property. And then when we didn't get anywhere with that, we expanded it to 10 miles. So we were looking at some pretty great area of possibility. I got in the car with Bob. We went half a mile up the road and he turned in. I said, where are you going, Bob? He said, this is it. And I got out of the car with Bob. We had no idea. We had traveled past that property hundreds of times. But looking at the commercial buildings along the way, we had no idea there were 15 beautiful acres behind these commercial buildings. I got out of the car and I said, Bob, this is it. He said, I know. But he said, don't get too excited about it, because if you do, that'll impact the price. So we met this wonderful owner who lived adjacent to the property. And we talked to him about acquiring this for the church. Now, he had had it for sale for a couple of years, but he had turned down several offers of people who wanted to do residential construction for communities or apartment buildings, or even for commercial shopping plazas. He said he didn't want his beautiful property paved over. But he loved the idea of a church taking possession of it because he knew this would be maintained in that way. Well, once we came to a general agreement, we made plans for the owner of the land to come over to our site, which is just half a mile up the road, that afternoon. And he came in, and when I was introducing him, Lenore said, oh yes, you're the owner of the property. Ron came to lunch and he was so excited that he almost couldn't eat lunch. And this man smiled warmly. With many persons, this would have been the approach that would have disturbed the price, as Bob said. But this was Guthrie O'Donnell, and he wanted someone to be the owner who loved the property as much as he did. And when they were leaving, his agent was helping me out. And I said, is it Guthrie McDonald or Guthrie O'Donnell? And the agent said, oh no, it's Guthrie O'Donnell. I have his initials on the top of my Rolodex, G-O-D. And I remember the chill within me, thinking, we are being offered this land by G-O-D. Well, there's so many wonderful stories about the church and the development. And Lenore has a special memory, fond memory that touches our hearts. She's going to share with you.
It was a beautiful space. Everybody loved it. And anytime they had an opportunity, they would go back there and they would walk. And it became obvious that we needed to do something because the grass was growing too tall and there were big rocks around and somebody could get hurt walking there. And so we kind of put the word out, and we looked around and saw what we could do. Well, somebody suggested, well, maybe goats on the property. Well, no, goats was not what we wanted to do. But Mills and Mary, they had a friend who had cows, and he was allowing us to take the cows and put them on the property to feed off the grass. Well, that was even more charming, and sent most of us out there to check on it and see how the cows were doing. And we saw that the cows were putting on a lot of weight. They were eating a lot of grass. So we called the owner and we said, you know, maybe you want to check on them because they're eating quite a bit of grass and getting fat. He came over and checked the cows over, and he said, oh yes, they're getting fat. He said, because they're all pregnant. And we thought, oh my goodness, they're all pregnant. And he said, well, all I did was open the van. He said, and said, anybody who wants to go with me, just get in. And these 4 came along and got in and came to the property with us. Well, we were expecting them to come and we were preparing for it, but we were in church that Sunday morning doing the service. And when we came out, there was the phone message there, and the neighbors had written us a note and said that somebody stole our cows. They came with a truck and they took the 4 cows away. And not only that, but they left a baby cow, because we know this because the baby cried all night long. And so Ron and I said, well, we better get over there and see what's going on. And sure enough, the cows were gone, but we knew that the owner was going to come and get them. But that little one we wanted to find. And so we walked the property looking to see where this little guy was. And finally we did come across the sounds of a crying little calf. And so we moved the car up as close as we could and got out. And here the cow is rubbing against the warm car, in a beige colored car to boot. And he's scooting around and he's walking around, and then he spotted Ron, and Ron had his tan pants on. And so there was this little baby and just rubbing along the legs, and we were of course laughing and thinking it was a lot of fun. And so I said, well, Ron, go and try to find me a bottle and I'll try to settle him down and we'll feed him. So Ron went to get the bottle and bringing it back. As the whole time I had been on my haunches walking through this area trying to find the little one. And then when I found him, I would take 2 steps toward him, he would take 2 steps away. And this went on until Ron finally got there. And eventually that little one got so tired that he just dropped into my lap and let me feed him. Well, this little guy was the sweetest thing you ever saw, with the clearest eyes and just so beautiful that we just named him Beauty. Yes, we named him Beauty. He slowed down and he took the bottle and he took a nap, and others from the church came out later in the day and made sure that he was getting the nourishment that he needed. And then the owner came out and collected the little one up, and was so pleased that he had been taken such good care of while he was with us. And this little calf was symbolic of what was happening in the whole church. And it seemed like another one of those opportunities we had to see God working through the people here in the church, and all the people who were just doing their part in that. We all seemed to have this little piece that put together and made a big puzzle come to life. And there was this saying that I thought it was, pregnant with promise and possibilities. The little guy was pregnant with possibility and promise, but the church all along, since the very inception of the idea of this church until this very moment, it was pregnant with promise and possibility. And that is where this church is going to. It by no means has stopped anything or slowed down. It's only moving ahead and knowing that God is in charge and God is giving you more and more to do to to bless the world and bless each other.
That is true, Lenore, and that is a special moment that we have reflected back on many times. We think back on so many magical moments. A couple of weeks after that first service on November 12, 1995, Lenore and I went downtown to the Zach Scott Theater to hear a celebration of Christmas performance. And there were some of the best musicians in Austin there. And we waited around afterward and introduced ourselves to a man who was just one of the outstanding ones. He said his name was Roderick Sanford. We told him we had a new church that had just started up. We were looking for the best musicians to perform there, to be there and present music, and he would certainly qualify. Roderick said, my dad is a minister, and I've always loved churches. Not long after that, a beautiful woman approached us after a Sunday service. Her name was Susan Heinrichs. She said she played piano, and she would be happy to help in any way she could. And that was how Susan Heinrichs, after the first of the century, became the ongoing music director of UCOH. And then when we were at that Christian middle school, there were two wonderful people by the name of Jose and Joquando who were cleaning the church. And when we loved them so much and they were so good at what they did, that when we moved to the storefront church, we asked if they could come and clean there, and they did. And then they moved with us to the new building, and I'm told that they continue to be there to this day, serving UCOH. One time when we were at the storefront church, I was standing in the lobby, and there were two persons. One was entering and the other leaving. And I said, oh, Lou Goodwin, do you know Cliff Mark? Cliff, do you know Lou? And I could feel the magic of that moment connecting. And 2 years later, we were honored to perform their wedding ceremony. And then later, in the new facility, there was a lovely couple in one of the first services walking down the hallway. And here was Neil holding the hand of Amy, and Jennifer Feiereisel was carrying little baby Evan. Now they're in their 20s. And every time we returned from a trip, there at the bottom of the escalator at Austin Bergstrom Airport, waiting for us was A.J. Elliott, who has served the church in so many ways over the years. There was a magical moment back after the turn of the century when a woman came to us and said, you know, I love churches. I've been involved with churches and I have a good administrative background. If there's some way I can help, I'd love to do so. And that's how Ellen Fanning came into the life of the church, who has not only served the church, but become, some might say, the heart and soul of the church over the years. There's a leadership of Mary and Mills Spangberg, of Jim Skaggs, and of course of Fred Howes, as well as Frank Phelan, that has just made the church an amazing place to be. There's the Children's Church of Lucy Alavato, now Lucy Corral, and Linda Hancock, who has served the Children's Church for so long. And then, of course, the dear Sharon Smith, with her amazing son, Preston, and daughter, Mackenzie. We look back on that last day at the storefront church, when the whole congregation walked that half a mile down to the new facility, carrying the wooden cross that now stands in the front of the sanctuary. God provides blessings through us even at our most difficult times. I think back to that time in 2004 when I had had a procedure that had resulted in a rupture within me that had toxicity spreading throughout my body. I didn't know about it, but for 2 weeks I was going downhill. And finally, at one point, we received a call from Fred and Joan House, and Fred said, "Ron, we're concerned about you." Now, this touched me so deeply because Fred had been dealing with cancer for 2 years, and here he was calling. And he said, "Can we pray for you?" And I sat there with tears just while he prayed and just saw the best for us. We did not know that Fred had only 3 weeks left to be on this earth at that time. And yet, from his prayer the next morning, I was led to go to a hospital where they discovered this rupture. And I went into surgery, didn't wake up till the next day, and have been fine ever since. How do you know that you are living the experience of God? Sometimes I have people ask me, how do I go about connecting with God? And I always tell them, you don't have to worry about that. The first thing is you make a commitment to have God take over your life. And then you will be led to the spiritual truths and all the experiences and practices that will bring this about. Well, you know you are living the experience of God when, one, you no longer ask the question, why is this happening to me? When something unfavorable comes into your life. Because you come to the point of knowing that it is for your learning and growth. Second, you really do let go of fear and worry. You see that these are anchors, and instead you want to eliminate the blocks and open yourself to all the possibilities of life. Third, you continually take your direction from God, trusting that God will lead you to where you need to be and just how to do so. You know that, as it's stated in that 4th step of the mastermind, you can make a decision to turn your will and your life over to the care of God and ask to be changed at death. Fourth, more and more, life becomes not how I can do better, what I can have more, but rather how can I live for others. 5, you live lightly, you have fun, enjoying life as the adventure it is. You move into an easy way of living where synchronicity abounds, aches and pains diminish, stress melts away, creativity flourishes, and relationships heal. Finally, you live fully with the understanding of 2 basic truths. The first truth is God has implanted within every human being an overwhelming torrent of love, the most powerful force in the universe. And the second truth is your purpose in life is to simply share that love that God has provided you. When you choose to do that without limitation, without regard toward whether anyone around you deserves it, you will live the life of the Christ consciousness, a life transformed in the Spirit. And that's the way it really is. God bless you.
Amen and amen. Oh, how fun to see Ron and Lenore. What a great message. He indicated to us that he also wanted to recognize that when the land was being purchased, the Skaggs and the Heinrichs families contributed virtually the entire amount needed, making our new church home possible. So much gratitude, and what a fabulous talk for me to come in on, to catch some of that history. Some of it I was aware of, a lot of it I did not know. So beautiful. Thank you, Ron. Thank you, Lenore. So we've come to the time in the service where we have the opportunity to give back to our spiritual home, to show our love and our support for this amazing place, as well as put the principle of giving and receiving into practice. You cannot outgive God. Whoa. We have many ways to give, and some of those ways are listed on your screen. We do actually have a few people in the sanctuary today, and we will not be passing baskets, but there are stations outside that you're welcome to donate that way, or any of the ways on the screen. So whether you're giving through the app, through the text, online, or mail, we are grateful for your generosity, and we know that it increases tenfold. When you give freely, you receive abundantly. So let's together speak our offering statement together. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I circulate, and I am grateful.
Hello, beautiful human. I'm Stowe Daly.
And I'm Karen Taylor Good.
Together, we are Stowe Good.
And you are Unity Church of the Hills in beautiful Austin, Texas.
And we sure miss you, but we're here today with you in spirit to wish you happy 25th anniversary.
25 years old. You young things.
Yeah. So we have a little song for you.
Yes, we do.
This is your anniversary song. It isn't very long. Hey. Love you.
Love you. Bye.
Greetings, dear friends at Unity Church of the Hills. I'm Mindy Audlin, author of What If It All Goes Right? And I want to wish you congratulations on 25 years of being the church that love has built. I know it was love that brought me through your doors 16 years ago as I took my very first spiritual education and enrichment classes. And it is love that I know will continue to carry you forward as an ever-expanding community of love and acceptance. Enjoy your celebration and congratulations.
You are the strength of my life. I lift my hands in total praise to you.
Welcome back to Austin, Reverend Eliza. We're so grateful that you're here with us. Thank you. And welcome back into the sanctuary, all of you who are here with us. So just a couple quick closing announcements. Whether you participate virtually from our website or come here to walk the grounds, don't forget about the walking tour celebrating our 25th anniversary. And then a milestone anniversary would be incomplete without celebration and their transformative music. So please come back and join us at 5:30 p.m. Whether you're dancing in your living room or on the pavilion, we'll be on Facebook Live, YouTube, and the pavilion for our concert this evening. Just a reminder that our sanctuary, as I've mentioned, is now open. So for a maximum of 25 congregants, the RSVP link for today's service will be available at 1 p.m. today. I've got people waving at the back, so if you have your offering, is that what that's about, or okay? Then on your way out, you've got the basket back there. Thank you, Art. We are going to have a Going Deeper with a panel around the 25th anniversary, if you'd like to stick around for that, either Facebook, YouTube, or here in the sanctuary. And we'll get started with that in a minute. Following the Going Deeper, if you're present and able to help us, we could use your help pulling down the Christmas decorations from backstage. So now let's just go ahead and close with our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And all is well. Thank you so much. Stick around for the Going Deeper.
Hello, happy 25th anniversary, Unity Church of the Hills.
Happy 25th anniversary, Unity Church of the Hills.
Happy anniversary, 25th anniversary, Unity Church of the Hills.
And welcome to this week's announcements. As the weather gets chillier, you'll want to wrap up in one of our beautiful lap quilts, lovingly made by the mother of Unity Church of the Hills, Joan House. Our Youth of Unity are selling quilts at an anniversary discount of 25%, and the funds raised help pay for events like YOU rallies. Visit unityhills.org/quilt to find the perfect quilt just for you. Thank you in advance for supporting our Youth of Unity.
Sign our 25th anniversary virtual greeting card by sharing your love, memories, and photos.
If you haven't had a chance to participate in our walking tour, it's running through November 21st. If you can't make it to the campus, Shannon Hamilton has built a stunning web page that lets you take the tour virtually.
Even if you just listen to 1 or 2 stops at a time, the stories are bound to inspire you. I know they did me.
In fact, let's hear a quick story from Bob Heinrichs on finding the property for our spiritual home.
Ron and Lenore Scott gave us, you might say, our walking papers to go find a new location for the permanent location for the church. Sum it all up, Susan and I looked ourselves for several months until such time as I saw a small sign that was hanging on a gate that looked into a 14.6 acre property for sale. I, of course, looked up the person who owned it. I negotiated with that individual with the contract to purchase the property. It was a goat farm. And we negotiated a successful contract to purchase the property from a gentleman whose name was Guthrie O'Donnell, whose initials are G-O-D.
Thank you, Bob and Susan Heinrichs.
Join us on Sunday, November 15th for Anniversary Sunday. Reverend Ron Scott, co-founding minister of Unity Church of the Hills, has prepared a special message for us at the 11:25 a.m. service. And then at 5:30 p.m., our music ministry will be live streaming a coming together concert that promises to be fun, enlivening, and transformative. We are streaming the concert to the pavilion, so RSVP if you'd like to come dance in the pavilion with us.
Our outdoor market day is really shaping up. We've got over 20 vendors who will be physically distanced around the campus, mostly backed by the pavilion. You can purchase artisan gifts, jewelry, body care products, and yummy baked goods by Shonda Birch.
Pumpkin spice cake balls, y'all.
So if you want some of that joy in your tummy, come on over. We'll get you a pumpkin spice cake ball. Saturday, November the 21st from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Mark your calendar.
Find all of our anniversary activities at unityhills.org/25. That's 25 years, or on our UCOH app.
We move from anniversary celebrations right into Thanksgiving celebrations. Let's take a look at what's in store as we move into the holidays.
We've joined with other local churches in the area to create our annual ecumenical service benefiting Hill Country Community Ministries on Tuesday, November 24th at 7:30 p.m. We'll feature beautiful choral pieces and hymns, and Reverend Mary Grace Sorensen will deliver a special message on heartfelt gratitude. These services will be streamed to Facebook, YouTube, and to our website.
Y'all, this year's Thanksgiving Eve communion service will be safe, simple, and short. We'll follow health protection guidelines, masks, gloves, etc., and observe social distancing and serving you communion drive-through style. So join us at the Circle Driveway in front of the Sanctuary Building on Wednesday, November 25th from 4 to 5 p.m.
You know, Joni, maybe you could dress up for that drive-through communion. Kind of like we dressed up for our anniversary recording. You look beautiful, Donna, Joni. Love the
And
bow
you
tie.
too, Kim?
Okay.
I'm not standing up though.
This is waist up, dressed up, and you can do the same for drive-through communion because we'll only be seeing you.
Well, listen to this. At 7 p.m. on Thanksgiving Eve, Reverend Eliza Bloom Robinson, our new interim minister, will lead us in a gratitude service via Zoom. She'll be giving a short message, leading us through a special meditation, and then we'll be able to share our gratitudes as a community. You can find the Zoom link on our calendar.
That's right, you're hearing it here first. Reverend Eliza is our new interim minister. Woohoo! She'll be with us this Sunday, November 15th, and then give the message on the 22nd.
Then on November 29th, we have a special guest message being provided by Reverend Michael Beckwith. Reverend Michael Beckwith. followed by a two-part series from Dr. Roger Teal on abundance. Reverend Eliza will continue to be present on the platform and add her consciousness and support as our interim minister, even though we do have these 3 Sundays of special guest messages. Aren't we blessed?
That's for sure. But finally, we want to remind you about our 2 outreach initiatives. First, we're collecting gently used or new coats for Hope Alliance. They are specifically looking for coats for women and toddlers, and coats can be dropped off at the church Tuesday through Friday, 9 to 5, or on Sundays through November 22nd.
And our annual turkey drive benefiting Hill Country Community Ministries runs through November 22nd as well. A donation of $25 provides a Thanksgiving meal for a family, and you can donate online at unityhills.org.
That's it for the announcements this week, everybody. Thanks for joining us, and happy anniversary, Unity.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary, Unity Church of the Hills.
Happy anniversary. We'll see you in the foyer soon.
Oh boy, maybe the foyer too. I'll be there in the foyer.
Foyer.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
All right, everyone, welcome back for our special Going Deeper session. I'm joined by Susan Heinrichs, Ellen Fannin, and Neil Feiereisel. And we're going to just have a conversation about kind of the early days of UCOH, favorite memories, and any questions that you guys have. So if you have a question on Facebook or YouTube, just type it in the comments. For those of you in the sanctuary, if you guys have a question, just raise your hand, and Shonda Birch, you'll tell her your question and she'll repeat it into the mic for us. So, but I want to start, and I'll just start with you, Susan, and then we'll go through the line. Kind of what has UCOH meant to you personally?
Well, that's a difficult question.
Question, right?
I feel like I've lived this church for the last 25 years. Bob and I came to the church on the second Sunday that it was in effect, and neither one of us had been really involved in a spiritual community, but as a new couple, we decided that we wanted to find a place to do that. And as Ron Scott was talking, God led us to Unity through Sally Taylor from Unity Village, who recommended there's a new church starting in Austin, so go. So we went, and here we are still. But I was thinking one of the early funny things, I was looking at Neil and thinking it took me 2 years in the early days to know how to pronounce your last name. You know, we were all with Betty and Jim and all the people who were core members in the beginning. We all got very close. And I think that was the connection, was the biggest part in the beginning. But over the years, this has been the place where I got to be safe with every challenge, every joy, every miracle, all the things. So many wonderful people, and the miracles. While I was singing a while ago, I almost thought, you've got to get through this, because I almost started crying because I just feel so deeply about this church. So what it's meant to me is just everything. I can't really put it into words. It's been a way of life. It's been what has helped me to grow. It's been my spiritual comfort. It's been my spiritual cloak. It's been full of fun and laughter and some sadness. And I guess when I say sadness right now, I just really, really am praying and seeing and holding this church coming together and connecting like we always have in the past. The times are challenging, but it takes each one of us. And so the church means everything to me, and it's been an experience that I'm just so grateful. I'm just grateful for the experience of being a part of this community. Go ahead, Ellen.
Well, you kind of took away what I wanted to say, that it's a way of life, because Unity Church of the Hills is definitely a way of life. It became so much a part of my life. And I moved here in 2001 and attended a couple of services at the old location, and then when we moved into this location, I remember I was singing with the choir on that Sunday, October the 7th, 2001. And then in June of 2002, I was approached by Ron to come to work here. And being a preacher's kid myself, I was like, I never ever wanted to work at a church, ever, because I had lived it. I know. Susan's a preacher's kid too, you know, and she knows what I'm talking about. But I really needed a job, so I came to work, and it has been such an incredible blessing. It is my life, you know. It is who I have become and who I am. My daughter goes here. She was engaged here. She was married here. My 3 grandchildren were christened here. I look out the window now. I see my son-in-law carrying my granddaughter out there. My daughter's up in the loft doing the video. And I mean, this is our life. You know, this is Unity Church of the Hills is so much a part of who we are and what we have become, and has been such an incredible blessing. All of the people that are now a part of our lives, our close friends. You know, people say, well, you know, get your other friends to come. Well, all my friends are here. So, and I just wanted to say one thing about the Total Praise song that y'all did. I was sitting in the back this morning, and I remember the very first time we sang that. It was right here on the stage. It was the Fun Singers. And there was probably somewhere between 30 and 40 of us up here singing Total Praise. And I mean, you could feel that song. And every time I hear it, I feel it. So thank you for singing that. Neil.
Well, I can honestly say that this church is the best thing that's ever happened to me or my family. I'm going to get a little choked up, so bear with me, but I am just so grateful for this church. It has been the center of our lives, spiritually, socially, personally, in every way. And when you come to church every single week, like for 25 years straight, it sinks in. You know, all those spiritual principles, you accept them into your consciousness, you start to live them in your daily life. And I've just, you know, not only have my wife and I grown up here spiritually, our kids have literally grown up here. When we started, our kids were like 2 and 4 months old. And so we just grew with them. You know, we grew as adults, they grew as children. We grew through our activities and being given the chance to serve. I mean, we've served in so many different ways, but it's in the act of giving that you allow yourself to receive. And so UCOH has given us that opportunity to be in the flow. And when I think about the blessings that we've received, but also our kids, we're up on this stage every Sunday for years and years and years and years. And imagine looking out at hundreds of smiling people supporting you, loving you unconditionally. So our kids have walked into the world with confidence and a kind of grace and ease and a trust in themselves and a trust in the world that they see this. I credit it to Unity Church of the Hills and what they learned, you know, back there in the classrooms, and what they learned from all the people just hugging each other constantly and supporting each other. Our son used to sleep over at a friend's house at least twice a week for years and years and years and years, or twice a month. And so I always wanted to drag him back to go to church here. And Jennifer was like, just let him go to their church, you know, let him have fun, you know. So he would go, he visited dozens of churches all over Austin. And one of the things that really struck me, this is when he was in high school maybe, or middle school or high school, he once confided, we were in the hallway, and he was saying, you know what? And of course, everybody's, you know, patting him on the head and, you know, saying hi, and everybody's hugging each other. He said, this is the only church like this. Everywhere else I go, people just walk in stone-faced. They march in, they go sit in their chair, their pew, and as soon as church is over, they're out of there. there's nobody like hugging each other in the hallway. That was so satisfying to me to see that he saw the love that is truly the essence of this church. I could go on and on and on, but I'll take a break for now. But I'm just grateful. I'm just grateful for UCOH, what it's done for me and for my family.
Thank you. Thank you all. So I've got a question here on Facebook. Having quote unquote grown up in the church now for many years, what is your heartfelt desire for what is to come? And I think that's a great lead-in question from where we just were. So I'll start with you, Neil, and this time we'll go that way.
For what UCOH is to become is
Heartfelt desire.
And my heartfelt desire is that UCOH continues to provide that space, that place for people to be connected, to develop those friendships, but also to challenge each and every one of us to grow spiritually, to give us that food for thought. You know, and what I love about Unity is that it doesn't force feed anything. It meets us where we are, and with classes and study groups and book study and all these ideas, you're always being challenged to look at things differently and to accept these spiritual principles. So I hope and I know that we ride through this pandemic, that everyone support us in this process so that we can continue to serve that mission of transforming lives.
Thank you, Neil. Ellen, your heartfelt desire.
It was interesting because I was working on the walking tour for the 25th anniversary, and I was going through some pictures, and I came across one picture that I had to just stop and look at. It was taken from about over there where the piano is, this way, and it was all of the people standing, singing, joyous. It was filled in here, and that's my short-term goal for us, is to get back to that where we can all be together again, but to have that same feeling that I felt when I saw that that picture, that you know, that heartfelt love that's just palpable whenever you're looking at it and experiencing it, and you just feel like you are wrapped in God's arms, and just seeing that happen again for us, and then knowing that we have a whole different future for us, and it's going to be virtual in a lot of ways, and learning how to get that same feeling through that would be a wonderful step for us too. But just seeing us growing and getting back together and loving and feeling that love and care and compassion for each other.
Thank you, Ellen. Susan?
I think you both just about covered it, but I'm spending a lot of time in prayer and meditation right now about seeing all of this happening again, and not only being like it was, but we know that change comes all the time, and so I want to see that and more, you know, but the feeling that we all have had for all these years of this church, that's an important thing to continue. And I have so much emotion about this church and what's going on right now. And so I think it's just really, really important that all of us stay in that positive place. This is just a space that we're experiencing right now. And so seeing us being everything that we're supposed to be for the world, and remembering that what we ultimately want is the capability to have that transformation reaching out to everyone.
Thank you, Susan. So I've got one more question here in Facebook. Before I go to that, does anybody here in the sanctuary have a question? I just want to make sure I don't skip over anybody. Okay, so the question, oh gosh, okay, flip my phone, is where did you go, question? How did everyone come to Unity as a practice, and how did you get to UCOH as a place? And so this time, Ellen, we'll start with you, and then whoever wants to go after you.
Well, I found Unity back in 1984-ish, somewhere in there, and I lived in El Paso, Texas, and a friend of mine said, "Oh, I heard about this little church. Do you want to go with me?" And so we went, and it, having grown up in the church and trying all kinds of different churches and stuff, the message so resonated with me. And so I was a part of it then. We moved from El Paso. I was up in Dallas for a while and at the Unity of Dallas, but we lived in Austin from 89 to 92 and went to the South Church a few times. But it was such a long drive. We found a little church up here that was a pretty liberal. It was supposedly a Baptist church, but had a lot of Lutheran in it. It was an interesting combination, but it was a nice little church, and we went there. And then when we moved away, I went to the Unity of Dallas and all of that, but then I lived in Colorado, and Courtney was in, my daughter was in New Mexico, and we both decided independently that we wanted to move back to Austin. Well, I still had a friend who had gone to the church that I had attended previously in Austin, and I got in touch with her, and I said, you know, I'm thinking about moving back down there, and I think Courtney's moving back down too, and we would really like to find a good church, and I'm going to need to find a job. She says, oh, I've got to tell you, I've been attending this Unity church, and I was like, oh, Unity, yay. And they have this career program, and I think Jim Skaggs was on the team with that. And she said, just come down here, and they can help you and maybe give you some leads on jobs and that sort of thing. So I wrote a letter or an email to Ron Scott. And I said, I'm getting ready to move to Austin, and I just want you to know that I've got a church background, I have a Unity background, I love doing graphics and that sort of thing, so if there's anything that I can volunteer to help with. I don't think that email had even gotten to them before I heard back from them. They said, oh yes, come. And so when I got here in September of 2001, the first person I met was Lucy, at that time Oliveto, and it was at the other location. And it like everyone says, it felt like home, because people were just so open and loving and kind, and it's been home ever since. So that's how I got here.
Yay, thank you, Ellen. Who would like to go next?
What was the question again?
So how did you come to Unity as a practice, and then how did you end up here at Unity Church of the Hills?
So I didn't know it, but I had been studying Unity since I was a toddler. And because I grew up in a Christian Science church, and Christian Science, Unity, and religious science are all very similar New Thought belief systems, very similar. And so I'd been studying Unity all my life, and so when we got here, so Jennifer and I had been looking for churches, and we'd visited churches with our friends a few times, and I would mentally argue with the minister as we were sitting in the pew, and it's like, no, that's bogus, that's not right. And so then we just happened to open up Hill Country Community News, Hill Country News, and there it was. It said, Unity Church of the Hills, first opening service this coming Sunday. And we said, well, let's go check it out. And as they say, the rest is history. But I distinctly remember sitting in the pew, and as Ron and Lenore shared the message, I remember saying, yes, yes, that's exactly what I believe. That's the truth. It just resonated deep. And so it was never a question, you know, and I've been here every single Sunday for the last 25 years.
I love that. Thank you, Neil. Susan?
Well, I came being dragged a little bit because I had, being a preacher's kid, and something most of you have heard, when I left home, went to college, I said, as God is my witness, I will never sing or play in church again. And here I am. But Bob was the one who said, I think as a couple we should find a church, and I was saying, do we have to? And it was kind of pulling that way. But we talked about it, and we had both been involved in New Thought. Bob was a big part of the South Church when Sally Taylor was there. And so I really didn't have it as a practice other than it fit right along with recovery. Unity's all about recovery too. And so I had been involved in that. So that was all a fit. And then when he started talking about, Sally recommends this, let's go. So the practice part of it came after we joined, but we both jumped in. We had Neil and Jennifer's kids in our class in the beginning of school because we had the 2- and 3-year-olds, and I wrote lessons for the children's church for several years, and so we just jumped in, and then all the classes started coming, and so started taking those and continued spiritual growth, and it never ends. It's fun to continue growing.
Absolutely. Well, I never knew that about you, Susan, about the youth and family ministry. That's so cool. I've been here for, 8 years, and I just learned something new about you. I love that. Well, I don't have any more questions here on Facebook, and I know this has been a long Sunday, but it's been an amazing Sunday. Do you guys have any just final comments? Yes, Neil.
I do. I'd like to share with each and every person listening that if you have stumbled upon Unity Church of the Hills, it's not by accident. That each and every one of us has a story of how we got here, how we walked through the doors, and we felt that love and acceptance. But I can assure you that if you stick with it and sort of just work with the ideas and work with the spiritual principles, find ways to volunteer. Right now, you may have to be creative, with things, but find a way to be involved. Elbow your way in and, to some opportunity, because everyone has the opportunity to sort of choose and create your own family of choice, your spiritual community of choice. And I've seen this happen over and over and over again. It's happened for us, and I've seen it with so many others. And that eventually it just starts to become second nature. I remember when I was a Sunday school teacher, I was terrified. Like, what am I possibly going to say to these little kids the night before I'm reading these, lesson plans, and I don't have anything important to share. I don't have any spiritual principles. And what do you know, 20-some years later, I'm comfortable with that, and I'm sharing it with others. And I think every single one of us is on that path. And so I encourage you to stick with it, get engaged, stay involved, and you'll be up here in another 20 years sharing your stories of how you love Unity Church of the Hills.
I love that.
I just would like to say, Jim and Betty are here. Jim, is there anything that you'd like to say as far as where Unity is, you see us going?
Shonda,
I mean, you were
hand
here
you the
from the
mic.
very beginning.
Hold on.
Wait,
Jim.
get this, talk into the mic.
I think you all described it remarkably well, and I just so many memories are floating through my head today. It's just it's amazing Sunday, and I appreciate all of you, all of what you've done, and the entire team that built this church, because it was a remarkable team. In that initial board we had for the first 7 years or so, there was never anything but unanimous decision on every issue. And it was a connected and loving group, all with the same objectives, all with ideas and thought, which we listened to, and that's the key, is listen, and created that environment that is so hard to explain. And how many times have we heard, hundreds of times, how did you connect with Unity? Well, I walked through the front door and I was home.
Right.
I felt love. I can't do it.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Jim.
I know it's
Thank you,
exactly
Jim.
the way all of us feel. We've heard it over and over again. You drive through the arch and see the beautiful campus, and then you walk in the door, and someone like Mill Spangberg, who stood there for years greeting people, and making everyone feel at home. You know, that's Rick Busby's story, that Mills was the first person that talked to him, and how many hundred other people can say Mills was the first person. But it was that kind of connection that's brought this church where it is, and we must go on.
Yes, yes. Paula, did you have a question, or were you just kind of amening to it? Okay, awesome. I just wanted to make sure. Ellen, do you have any closing comments?
Well, maybe it's a commercial. I'm not sure. The walking tour is fascinating. And, you know, I lived a lot of it, but I also heard a lot about it whenever I first came. And I want to encourage everyone to participate in that, whether you come here to the premises and actually walk, or you can go to our website and listen to it. Rick Busby and Kate Price and Joni Lorraine all helped put this together, and it tells some of the history, but what is wonderful is we have these interviews with all of these people, and we're going to archive them so that we've got them. And I was thinking, you know, everyone has their own personal story. I would love it if we could get recordings, make your own recording of how you got here and what happened to you and what you felt, and maybe we could archive them somewhere, because our stories are this church. We are this church. And we have seen miracles happen. I'll never forget when Ron Scott told me, and I had been working here for a couple of years, he said, when we hired you, we had no idea how we were going to pay you. But God always provides, and we forget that sometimes, but God always provides, because with God all things are possible. And just know that each and every one of you, whether we know you personally or not, you are part of the family, and this is a family. And thank you for being a part of this beautiful, beautiful community.
Thank you. All right, everyone. Well, thank you guys for joining us, and thank all of you up here. Thank you so much. Have an absolutely beautiful, blessed day. If you're here in the sanctuary and able to help with Christmas decorations, we would appreciate it. We love you. Have an absolutely beautiful day. Namaste.
See you at 5:30.
Oh, yes, thank you. Come back for the concert, 5:30 p.m.